This Valentine's Day, get a Heart Baker pizza from Papa Murphy's. You complete us. And we mean that literally. With Take and Bake, we prepare it, you make it yours. So make us yours today. Papa Murphy's. Change the way you pizza.
How big of a story is this? That LeBron James last night, if you missed it, LeBron James broke the all-time scoring record held for 39 years by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the captain. He breaks that record last night, and the heat on Twitter was remarkable. Why is there so much vitriol for LeBron?
I don't know, man. I don't know if it's the off the court stuff or just plainly just hating on him to hate on him. I really don't know. I mean, you'd have to ask these people. Because again, like we spoke about yesterday. I mean, it's no secret. Like LeBron's not my favorite player, but there's no denying that you have to respect, what he's been able to accomplish here. And I think that, in today's day and age of athlete. We had this discussion about Tom and his retirement.
It's Tommy, please.
Tommy and his retirement. And people were all pissed about that too. So I don't know if it's just, athletes who have longevity and have been playing a long time, and if you're just burnt out on those guys or what. But what I'm telling you is that you're hating on a guy who's doing something special. And I think that, no matter who you are, LeBron lover, LeBron hater, at a minimum, I think you have to be able to say, okay, this guy clearly did something special. I don't like the guy, but, you got to respect him.
Yeah, and I think when you look at some of the comments coming in last night about how he's selfish and they shouldn't stop the game, it's the all-time career scoring record. They shouldn't stop the game for LeBron. That's crazy. They had a 10-minute ceremony to honor him. As he broke nobody has ever scored more points in the NBA than LeBron James.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't stop the game. People calling him selfish for stopping the game. People saying that his teammates don't like him because Anthony Davis didn't applaud when LeBron broke the record. Or, I saw the criticism of people saying that LeBron didn't immediately go over to Kareem. They did a ceremony at half court with Kareem and LeBron where Kareem hands him a basketball.
Yeah.
I think it is, and again, this is just my opinion, I think it's one of the most difficult records to break. I don't know that we will see this again in our lifetimes. I really doubt that we will again see somebody break the scoring record for a career in the NBA. I don't think in my lifetime I will ever see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's, it's that's what I'm saying. Like, it just is such a simple and straightforward thing, in my opinion. Like, I don't mean to dumb it down, but like, it's like, okay, I understand that people don't necessarily enjoy LeBron, in every single aspect of LeBron that LeBron brings to the table. Like, I get that, but this is the all-time NBA scoring record, man. This is, I agree, one of the most difficult, challenges to overcome. I mean, it's not one of those that's just like, oh, you had, a couple of big years, or this isn't like, putting up 81 in a game, I would say is easier than doing this. Putting up, one, like, single game achievements, in my opinion, are easier to accomplish than this record because it takes so long to accumulate damn near 40,000 points, man. Like, that's a lot of points. And think about all the bad teams Bron's been on. Think about, all the playoff runs, like the longevity, the how much work he's had to put in. Like,
dude,
that's what I think people don't understand. Like, that's why I respect it, because it's like, yeah, is his winning percentage in the NBA Finals on the lower end? Sure. But that doesn't mean that the work he put in to get there is just discounted. It takes so much to do this. So that's why I respect him, and I'm also surprised that people can't just simply say, like, yeah, this is a pretty cool moment in our life.
Well, and Kevin Durant is 12,000 points behind.
Yeah.
I said 12,000 points behind. KD is always hurt now, it feels like. That's the closest guy to LeBron James right now. 12,000 points. You go down a little further, and you're seeing Allen Iverson, James Harden. It is 14,000 points behind. James Harden, he's not going to play long enough. Russell Westbrook, no chance. Like, this record is not going to be broken for another 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is insurmountable. I think it's an incredible achievement. It just, what it takes in today's NBA to play this long at his size, at his weight, it's just, I understand haters, and I even embrace that in sports. But today is a day where you tip your cap to LeBron and understand that the conversation, if you haven't seen the highlights yet, at halftime, LeBron and his kids were standing there talking about, should I break this record tonight? Should I go and get it? Should I go and do it? And then he goes and does it. And he broke it down by, I need 8 points a quarter.
Yeah.
You have like 16 points he had to get, and he went and got him in the third quarter.
Well,
it was amazing to me.
The family dynamic, I also think, is something that's really cool. I mean, obviously, we're family on this show. And so for me personally, I think it's just a cool little wrinkle to the whole situation that, because LeBron's been talking about playing with Bronny for a couple years now. And to see that Bronny's there and they can kind of share that moment and just, it's just a cool thing, man. And well,
think about what that means to Bronny, though.
Yeah.
And think about what that means to Bryce, his younger son, who was also there, as Jake said. Like, being exposed to that moment and being exposed to that kind of history is preparing them to go on to the next level. Like, I listened to what Josh Giddey said after the game last night, the young Australian for OKC, who, by the way, went on to win the game, we should point out. Josh Giddey said, I grew up with LeBron as my favorite player. I idolized him. To be on the floor with him when he broke the record was special. I can't even imagine what being Josh Giddey must be like, what being Shai Gilgeous-Alexander must be like to watch something like this happen, let alone to see your dad being the one to do that and knowing that you're coming up behind him. I just thought it was a really special experience. If you're not happy for LeBron today, I don't know that you can be happy with people, with as a person, rather, I meant to say.
Part of Bron's thing is that people don't feel like he's a pure scorer. And I love, we were kind of talking about this yesterday about JJ Redick's podcast and what he had talked about and talking about Bron, being the best scorer the league's ever seen now. I tend to agree with that. Bron just does it in a different way. It's not necessarily the pretty J every time. The reason I love Kevin Durant's game so much is because he lives and dies on the jumper, and it's beautiful to watch him get to his spots.
It looks easy with KD. It looked easy with Kobe and Michael. It never looks easy with LeBron. The guy has to work pretty much for every bucket that he gets. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Eric and Raleigh says, LOL, LeBron can't spell Lakers lose without LeBron. Wow. That's harsh, bro. Capazzo says, Top Gun Maverick was the last movie I went to in a theater.
Yeah.
Yusuf says, latest Jurassic Park. Okay. I loved Top Gun, by the way. What's up, Jaron Patterson? My guy. He says, good morning, fam. Missed you guys. Best radio show on the planet. Goat, appreciate that. What's up? Matt Ritson says, good morning. Pudge NYC, what's up,
dude?
I'm telling you, Pudge, your Knicks are on the verge of making a huge deal. A huge deal. I think they're really close. James Knight from Australia, mate. Good morning, James. By the way, James said we're never in the chat on Instagram. We're in the chat all day. I don't know how much more we could be in that Instagram chat. You're welcome. James says, if I was LeBron's teammate, I would appreciate him balling out on the game with a game still to win. I mean, it's not about that game. I think last night was about all-time history. Although I will say, I thought it was interesting that Anthony Davis did not stand. He was sitting on the end of the bench, and when LeBron hit the fadeaway, Anthony Davis wasn't celebrating. He did not stand up. He did not clap. He just sat there and said nothing and did nothing. What do you read anything into that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I read into it far enough to be like, oh, Anthony Davis is a bad teammate or whatever. I mean, who the hell knows? I mean, the guy, for all I know, the guy's back is killing him. I mean, and I'm not even trying to be dramatic. I mean, this guy is constantly hurt, and I'm not saying that's the reason he wasn't applauding. I'm just simply saying that there could be any number of reasons, and the thing that I think you have to point to is that we don't get insight in the locker room to their relationship. Obviously, they're close, and LeBron on the bench, telling AD that he loves him, and he whatever, like just sharing positive energy with them. Like they're fine, they're fine. I think that Anthony Davis, I have to imagine, feels a bit like, yeah, man, like this is a really special moment. I've got a really special teammate, and I kind of need to live up to it for him on some level. Because if I was Anthony Davis, I would kind of feel that way. Like, man, I've really struggled to stay healthy. Like, I really got to focus on staying on the floor for LeBron. Like, I'm probably never going to play with a guy again who's as good or as impactful as LeBron James, And so if I was a guy that had the skill level and the talent and the ability that Anthony Davis had, but also at the same time was fighting the injuries in my body and just can't stay healthy, I have to imagine when I'm quite literally witnessing NBA history, and as I think it was Pudge said, Black American history, yeah, I'm going to be impacted by that a lot. So I'm not going to take the leap and say the guy's a bad teammate, but I do think it was interesting he was the only one of the teammates not applauding. You have to question.
Well, and I think that if you're a guy like Anthony Davis, in moments like that, don't you realize how much of your career you've wasted?
Yeah.
I would think. Again, I don't know Anthony at all. I couldn't speak for him, but I think you have to, in that moment, understand what LeBron's done and what you have not. Because there's no doubt in my mind anyway, Anthony Davis is just as talented as LeBron. But your best ability is your availability. And Anthony Davis is routinely unavailable to the Lakers.
I think that's simple.
He is routinely unavailable to LeBron. And he has been routinely unavailable throughout his career. And there is no doubt that Anthony Davis is a disappointment. And it's got to be tough to see LeBron doing the things that LeBron did last night and the symbolism that's involved with what LeBron has accomplished over his career.
Yeah.
Simply because he's put so much time, effort, and money into keeping his body in shape, and Anthony Davis has not. And we heard all summer long about how Anthony Davis is in the best shape of his career, and then he's missed a ton of games this year. I imagine that's got to be difficult because Anthony Davis must believe he's one of the best players in the NBA, and I think he is, but he's never healthy, so what does it matter?
Right.
All that talent means nothing when you can't play. And I think when you see a guy like LeBron, whose career has been defined by longevity and greatness, that's got to be hard for Anthony Davis. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
And I think uniquely hard for Anthony Davis. Russell Westbrook was never that good. You look at a guy like, again, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Josh Giddey, the two best players on OKC, that's an inspiration for them. But now you look at a guy in Anthony Davis who's not young. He has not lived up to his ability. He has not stayed healthy. That's got to be tough to watch. I can only imagine for AD that's tough to watch. You know, as a competitor, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's tough to watch. James Knight says, I'm glad OKC won the game, having to endure that circus. Oh, I don't think there's any doubt it's a tip of the cap to OKC.
Yeah.
I mean, to win the game in that atmosphere had to be difficult. You have people paying $75 a ticket.
Yeah.
To be in that seat.
But I think if you're a player, aren't you like, hey, like we know what tonight's going to be, we know.
No, you have no way to prepare for that. And I think this is something that people don't understand. It's playing in a Super Bowl, playing in the playoffs, because that's what that atmosphere is. The atmosphere last night is that of a playoff game. You have no idea how you're going to feel in that moment or in that game. And I just point to the box score and look at the performances last night. And hey, man, I think if you are OKC and you see that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander went for 30 points and only hit 1 3, you got to feel pretty good about that. And you look at you look at a guy like a Jalen Williams, 25 points in 40 minutes. Got to feel good about that. Josh Giddey drops 20. You know, you look at LeBron. LeBron has 38 last night. Russell Westbrook has 27. And again, Anthony Davis plays 31 minutes and scores 13 points. Who did the moment weigh on? Well, it weighed on Anthony Davis. It didn't weigh on SGA. It didn't weigh on Russell Westbrook, who I thought actually played well last night. It weighed on Anthony Davis. I think it's very telling. And I know we're at the trade deadline, and it's easy to say this now, but If you've watched the show at all, you know I'm a believer they should trade Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis is not a franchise player. I don't believe you can count on him. I don't think he's a guy that LeBron can pass the ball to in confidence. And again, that's why I say I think the Lakers are wasting LeBron James because you're not putting talent around him that he knows he can ball with.
Right.
I think it's a huge problem. I really do. Eric and Raleigh, I love that the outcome of the game is an afterthought. We play to win the game. Well, last night was about American sports history. I mean, I don't think people understand the magnitude of that record. I don't know if there's a more difficult record to break. I really don't.
Yeah. I
don't know what that would be. I really don't know what that would be because I think it is going to be 40 more years before we see it again.
Yeah, and I just think that it's a great moment. Like why? Like I guess I just wonder. Like like I love NBA fans and I love you guys. I love James. I love Eric. Like I love everyone in the chat. But what is the struggle to be able to set everything aside for one night and say, hey, this is about LeBron? Like why is that? Why is that so difficult to do? Who cares in this moment, in this night, if they won the game or not? Like, yes, you play to win the game, but he's been winning the game most of his career. Like, that's why we're here. You can't lose sight of that, And
for a guy like James Knight, though, and James, I'm not speaking for you. I mean, James is Australian. I don't think anything LeBron does impacts James the way it impacts any of us that are in the States. Like, I think for a guy like James Knight, he's seen so many different things. And like when you live in Australia, what happens in American sports is it impacts you through a very different filter.
Yeah.
So, James, I understand your indifference to LeBron. Like he was talking about, where's his comment on TNT? TNT was unbearable. I switched to the Spanish broadcast. Exactly right. Exactly right. Like, to me, that is quintessential dude. I don't even disagree with you on that. I really don't. Frank H., good morning. He says, congratulations to LeBron, but that was embarrassing last night. The Lakers lost another game they clearly should have won. They are one of two teams with two top 10 players and have sucked for the last 2 years. Is Anthony Davis any longer a top 10 player?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean,
I don't know if he is.
I don't think we can say they have two top 10 players. They've had two top 10 players for 5 minutes over the last 2 years, and other than that, it's been LeBron and everyone else.
Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know. Ryan S. says they had a rehearsal before the game. If it would have happened at the end of the game or overtime, they wouldn't have played on. They would have played on. Yes, they would have. Exactly right. It was late in the third quarter.
Well, it was scripted. It was scripted.
Great point, Ryan S. All of sports is scripted.
Right.
We know that now.
Right.
Thank you to the NFL. Troy Cushing, a member of the program. Good morning. Louis Capazzo says, don't forget to crush the like button, please.
Program.
Please, which is what our first comment in this morning. Lopes Van Gabe says, hit that like button on the way in, casuals.
Yep.
Mark Hales, good morning to you. Nameless School says, good morning, my dudes. Watched LeBron break the record last night. Shot was amazing. The dude dropped an F-bomb in his speech. I mean, the fadeaway, I do maybe not even gently say, LeBron is arrogant. I mean, talking about signature, whatever he called I think he said a signature dunk or, my signature fadeaway. Like, what signature fadeaway? Shut up.
Well,
that, I just want to be like, get out of here.
Your best point so far today has been that it looks difficult for LeBron. It didn't look difficult for Kobe or Mike.
No, it didn't.
And I think that I think on its own may be the singular reason, the core, deepest reason why he gets hate. Because Kobe never got hate. Like, Michael...
But they've been showing Michael Jordan highlights all morning long. Like his dunks on Patrick Ewing or the Dikembe Mutombo finger wag, that looked easy.
Yeah.
Everything LeBron does, he's taken on like three guys. And, like the free throw shooting, the 3-point stroke is always awkward. Like, it's the game, in my opinion. He's a great athlete. He's not an easy athlete.
Yeah.
He's not a guy who's... And he's a big hulking dude.
He plays a physical game. Mike and Kobe, and like KD play a finesse game.
Yes, I would agree with that.
They play
yes.
a finesse game, and so it's just different. But that said, there's nothing I love more. Like, I have memories of Bron on Christmas Day, like when it was Heat and Lakers at Staples Center with LeBron wearing his bright ass green Christmas shoes, and it was Wade off the glass to LeBron for a ridiculous alley-oop. Like, you were like, I remember all that stuff, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, when we talk about guys like Josh Giddey or like that generation of player who's in the league now, all those guys, LeBron is their Michael Jordan. So that's what I'm saying, man. Like LeBron's impact is massive. And I think, luckily for MJ and Kobe, their legacy will live forever. I don't think that Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant will ever be forgotten or underappreciated. My question, though, is will LeBron's legacy be that same way? Or 30 years from now, will there be the next LeBron? You know what I mean? Or the next guy that will sort of replace that? That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a very interesting question. Cammie Lynn says, hello. Hi, Cammie Lynn. Mr. Preston says, good morning, fellas. It's hump day. I'm excited for the show. Let's go.
Let's go.
Kenai Johnson, good morning to you, sir. He says, top of the morning, fellas. You might lose your chance with playing too much hardball.
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
What do you mean by that, bro?
You mean Danny Ainge. We'll talk about Danny Ainge coming up in 6 minutes on the show.
The show.
The showgrum. Pudge says, I don't hate LeBron. I hate his delusional fans. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Okay.
Because those that defend LeBron, I don't disagree with that. Let's see. Mike Maples, who's a member of the program. Good morning, Mapes. LOL, Boyd, their agent is real GM of the Lakers. Exactly. Because Boyd Lake said, remind me, did LeBron insist on signing Anthony Street Clothes Davis? You typed out the whole name. Anthony Street Clothes Davis to the Lakers. They share the same agent.
Street Clothes Davis.
I don't believe that. I don't remember LeBron like, oh, you're going to do it. I don't remember him doing that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he sanctioned that move. I'm sure he was happy about that move. They won a championship together. They absolutely won a championship together. Was it worth it? I don't know. I have no idea. James Knight, a member of the program, says if anybody's fadeaway was a signature on the floor last night, it was SGA, who I think still flies way under the radar.
Yeah.
By the way, did anybody see my guy last night? My dude? The one and only? The king, the stud, Cam Thomas. He scored 40 more last night, but my guy Booker's back.
Yeah.
My guy Book is back.
Dude's a little rusty. He's got some work to do.
I thought he looked smooth. Let's see. Capazzo says, oh, Jake, Kobe didn't get hate after the rape accusations, and everyone always wondered if he really did it, even though he was found not guilty. Remember the size of that rock he bought Mrs. after? Yeah, you guys remember the diamond that he bought Vanessa after that whole thing? Oof.
I'm talking about, dude, I appreciate that, and you're not wrong, but I'm just talking about general hate. LeBron gets hated on, like, so much, dude. Like, Kobe, yes, had that off-the-court incident and had some issues, but nobody's talking about that. Nobody wants to talk about it. That's not how we remember Kobe. Like, it's just tired.
No, LeBron's arrogance and the flaunting of his greatness pisses people off.
Yeah.
It is that simple that you see a guy who's got his kids and his wife and, you know, accolades from an entire building. Like, I think there's a lot of vitriol for LeBron James.
Yeah.
And I think that Mike, at the end of the day, Michael Jordan didn't have Twitter to go after the president. Michael Jordan didn't. It's a different day and time.
Yeah.
Like, social media in this age of professional sports has changed the way we deal with athletes. And I think LeBron is a great example of that. LeBron is somebody that puts himself out there and he puts out cryptic tweets that we have to wonder what they mean. And it pisses people off. He goes after the president. It pisses people off.
That's right, T.
He opens up a school and sends underprivileged children to college. It pisses people off. Like, social media has changed the way we interact with people. We didn't have Twitter during Kobe's time. We didn't have Twitter certainly during Mike's time. Today is a different NBA. It's a different world, and that's why I continue to tell you, stop comparing LeBron James to, like last night, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There's no comparison. Stop comparing LeBron to Michael, there's no comparison. They played in two completely different eras. I just don't think you can do it. I don't think you can do it.
Yeah.
Pudge NYC says MJ stayed out of politics. What if MJ had had Twitter? What if he'd had Twitter? Would he have gone after Bill Clinton? Would he have? I don't know. Would he have gone after the mayor of Chicago? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Twitter was started in 2006.
Yeah.
Kobe's career started in November 3rd, 1996. So over half his career, Twitter didn't even exist. And Twitter really didn't even get going until what, like 2010, 2011? Like it really didn't pick up steam. People weren't really on it until then. So that's why I say like Bron's just had it different, dude. And I think that I guess where I come down on it is he's not even close to my favorite player. But I just respect what he's been able to do, and even more so because he's not an easy athlete, as you put it. He doesn't just have that easy, smooth, I'm just more talented than you ability. He's had to fine-tune his game. I agree. He's had to, and by the way, I think it should also be said in terms of longevity and fine-tuning, we all remember, like, maybe we don't, Bron ran into a bunch of back issues when his time in Miami was ending. I remember the cramping. I remember the issues he had on the bench in the NBA Finals. I believe it was his second to last year in Miami. And so he had to change his shot. He had to change his weightlifting routine. He had to change all this stuff to keep playing. So that's where I come down. I just feel like the guy deserves credit. Yeah. Just, hey, great, yeah, you lost the game, but that wasn't really the point. Last night was about Bron. Now, next game, I don't know if that's tonight or tomorrow night, probably tomorrow night, that's going to be about winning and losing the game. And now we're on to, are you going to make the playoffs, and are you actually going to do something?
No. We're on to Rob Pelinka sucks. What do you think, LeBron?
Please.
That's what we're on to. We'll get back to, hey, LeBron, your general manager sucks. Your thoughts.
Seriously.
That's what we'll go back to in the NBA.
First. You're last.
All right, Jazz coming up in a minute. Jeremy Severe, good morning to you. He's a member of the program. He says, I don't think anyone will beat LeBron's. I think too many players will be injury prone because the mileage they put in on AAU years. Great point. Kurt Myers says it costs Kobe the Hope Diamond to get out of that one. Yes, it did. And I've done similar things, because as a beautiful, good-looking man, women throw themselves at me all the time. So, I have, and it's, sometimes it's hard to say no. And so you buy diamonds.
How about that?
I would know nothing about that. Speaking of buying diamonds, Mrs. Monty says, listening while killing it on the Peloton. Good morning.
What was that you were just saying about all these women and
the
funny,
I'm just saying.
Hey, close.
Everybody, including Mrs. Monty, hit the like button, please. Anton says MJ is the secret father of Jimmy Butler. He's not even the secret father.
Here we go.
Well, I'm telling you, it's true. It's true. Garrett Mears, a member of the program. Good morning to you. R says LeBron might seem arrogant at times, but who millionaire doesn't? He's not the worst. At least I guess he got most of his money by playing ball and being extremely good at it. Ethical shoes? Nope. I love this. Like last night, Enes Kanter, tweeting about how LeBron turns a blind eye to oppression in China. Okay, are we really going to single LeBron out for that? He has a Nike contract. Okay, great. He turns a blind eye to oppression in China. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean he's not the all-time leading scorer, Ennis. Yeah. That's what I hate about the petty, arrogant guys. Yusuf says, LOL, I love the Beavis laugh.
Well, yeah.
Yes, so do I. All of our NBA talk and Jazz talk on the program is brought to you by our good friends at Quick Quack Car Wash. Make sure you get to Quick Quack Car Wash and you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. You know what, man? We love it when you guys send us pictures. Get to Quick Quack today, snap a picture, and tweet at us. Put it in our Instagram chat. Get after it at Quick Quack Car Wash because as soon as you hear Quick Quack, it's a great car wash. The car's going to look great. Klaus is sitting out in the parking lot, shining like he never has shined before, thanks to our friends at Quick Quack. And the thing I like is they're really friendly. I roll up to Quick Quack. I'm in and out of there in 5-7 minutes, no matter how long the line is. We're in and out of there quick. and the people are friendly. I don't have to deal with some like pagoda computer thing.
Yeah.
I roll up, they put my plate in. Hey, Monty, here's your free dashboard wipe. Anything else you need today? And they're friendly. They wave. And again, the car wash is second to none. Second to none.
Yeah.
By the way, bring the kids because there's all kinds of lights and colored lights and different soaps that fall on your car. It is a great experience at Quick Quack Car Wash, who presents all of our Utah Jazz and NBA talk here on the Monty Show. Jazz and T-Wolves, do we get a video in honor of Rudy Gobert tonight? No,
yeah.
we don't.
They do.
Oh
my God,
they did that already.
Remember the circus? They'll do something. They'll do something.
Nah, it's over. He's already been back. The Jazz are a game under 500. They're 10th in the West. This is an important game, but one of the things that we are definitely seeing with the Utah Jazz is that there is a fog hanging around this team because of the trade deadline. Mike Conley openly talked about it. Jordan Clarkson talked about it the other night. And you just wonder how long is too long to wait to make a deal, because we heard yesterday from sources that Danny Ainge has a very high asking price on Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley, and Malik Beasley, three of the most in-demand guys. He's asking, by some NBA sources, 2 first-round picks and a player in return for Jordan Clarkson. That's a lot of bread, dude. I don't know if Danny is going to continue to hold that high of an asking price, but it is shocking that you believe that you can get a first-round pick for Malik Beasley, Mike Conley, and 2 first-round picks for Jordan Clarkson. That seems like an awfully steep price, especially when you have other competition. Like Mike Conley's the best example of this. Fred VanVleet is available, and the Clippers are all in on Fred VanVleet right now. And I think a lot of it is they don't want to give up a first-round pick to get Mike Conley, nor would I. And I think it is Danny being unreasonable, but does he come off that asking price? I don't know. We'll find out in about 36 hours from now when the NBA trade deadline passes. It is tomorrow at 1 o'clock Mountain Time. Is Danny Ainge holding too high of an asking price? 2 first-round picks and a player for Jordan Clarkson is too high. That is exceptionally high. Now, of course, you're going to have to get a player in return to make the salaries work. But 2 first-round picks for a guy that's on the wrong side of 30 and is going to be a free agent this summer, Jake, that seems like an awful lot to ask by Danny Ainge.
Yeah, and I think it suggests what we've been talking about, that Ryan Smith doesn't want to trade Jordan Clarkson. I think that Danny obviously wants to get the most he can get for these guys, but I think it's underselling it a bit to say that that's asking too much. I think it's an asinine price. That's what I think. I think that 2 picks and a player for Jordan Clarkson is crazy. No one's going to pay that. That's just not like that's like all-star player level value, right? Like that's like, hey, you're a stud in this league. You're, someone that we could build a team around. Like that's the kind of price you're asking for a guy who's a 6th man of the year and as a starter on a pretty mediocre team, got some rumblings, a little smoke as an all-star, but never really was going to get in. So to me, it just suggests what we've been told. Ryan Smith doesn't want to trade Jordan Clarkson, and what I've been concerned about, and for those of you who listen every day, you're not unfamiliar with this take. I'm concerned that Danny Ainge is going to be a little bit too greedy, that Danny Ainge is going to try to Ainge too many people, and it's not going to work out. And then you're not going to make enough deals, and you're going to wind up waiting till summer, which would be a huge mistake in my opinion. Right now, your trajectory's nice. You're going up and to the right now. You're on a good path. You got your money right. You've got your draft capital right. But if you don't get this trade deadline right, and I've said it before and I'll keep saying it, you don't get this trade deadline right, now we got to have a different conversation. We got to have a conversation about, okay, well, what was the mindset at the trade deadline? What are we doing? Like like Malik Beasley has no business being here past the trade deadline. Mike Conley, I think, could be here, but given the Fred VanVleet sweepstakes and how many teams right now today need a point guard, he has no business being here past the trade deadline. There's way too much demand for a guy like him. So to me, it's been a concern over the last couple of weeks because I haven't been hearing and we haven't been hearing that, yeah, Danny is deep in conversations and they're putting deals together. What have we heard? Well, Danny's got a couple of these deals, a first round pick for JC. That's what he's got. because Danny's asking too much and teams are just saying, okay, well, we're never going to pay that. Here's what you get. Take it or leave it. That's what I'm concerned about with Danny Ainge. And it is, I just can't emphasize enough. You can't miss on this deadline. You can't have a deadline go by where you do one deal and call it good. That's just not going to work. And yeah, the summer window is always fruitful. It's always productive. But I want that summer window to be fruitful and productive for the team that should be made through the deadline, not the team that we have today. That's the difference.
Yeah, I think when you look at the situation with the Jazz, I think you're starting to see that you just have a lot of questions around what the Jazz philosophy here is. You know, I think this story yesterday with Matt Ishbia taking over control of the Phoenix Suns, as we told you on Monday, I guess it was. Matt Ishbia had been approved by the Board of Governors, and he took over control of the club yesterday. And then immediately you hear this story that they're bringing in Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas for a, quote, significant front office role. I don't know how this continues to happen. You look at what Isaiah Thomas did in Toronto when they were an expansion team. He was an abject disaster, a failure. You look at what Isaiah Thomas did with the CBA, the Continental Basketball Association. He was a failure. You look at what Isaiah Thomas did with the New York Knicks. He was a not only a failure on the basketball side, there were massive scandals inside the organization related to the way he treated people. You know, his time in New York was a disaster.
Yeah.
So the Phoenix Suns are going to naturally ask him to come in and have a significant role in the front office that's already achieving at a very high level, that brought this Phoenix Suns organization to the NBA Finals. So to improve on that, you bring in Isaiah Thomas. I think this is incredibly damaging to the Phoenix Suns. And I do think the Suns are going to make moves. I just think this is really damaging to the Phoenix Suns to bring in a guy like Isaiah Thomas. And I think it damages the opportunity for Danny Ainge and the Jazz to make a trade with the Suns. I look at this story that Danny is asking for 2 first-round picks for Jordan Clarkson. I'm with you. There is I was told yesterday by sources that there is a belief around the NBA that Ryan Smith does not want to trade. Jordan Clarkson, he believes that they believe they can re-sign him in the summer. You know, I think that's a huge mistake. I think one of the things that I would say is re-signing Jordan isn't a mistake. The money it's going to take to re-sign Jordan Clarkson is the mistake in that transaction. You need to trade Jordan. If he is going to re-sign here in the summer, you would still trade him. He has told you, hey, if there's an opportunity to get to an NBA championship contender, I'm all for it. You should trade him and get a first-round pick for him. And then if he truly wants to be here, he'll resign with you in the summer. But it's foolish to take the risk and get nothing in return, because chances are Jordan Clarkson's going to get between $22 and $24 million a year for a minimum of 3 years. That's money that you cannot spend if you're the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
That is $72 million at a minimum that Jordan Clarkson's going to bring in free agency. Do you really want to commit $72 million to this version of Jordan Clarkson? Man, that's crazy. And the other thing I think you have to consider is that the bidding war is probably going to require a 4th year, probably an option year, that could bring that deal upwards of, and it's hard for me to even say it, upwards of $100 million over 4 years for Jordan Clarkson. That's crazy money. $96 million. Nah, bro. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Well, and doesn't this have like all the symbols of the classic small market bad basketball deal? Isn't that what this kind of has shades of? Like I think about, just over the years, of the bad contracts. Like the Duncan Robinson contract is a great example.
It's a bad contract.
Of a guy who got overpaid, and I know, again, on the show, I know over the course of the last 2 years, we've talked all about Gobert's contract and how that was a bad deal. But what really is the difference between today's Utah Jazz organization and the prior incarnation if you give Jordan Clarkson that contract?
Nothing. There is no difference. And one of the guys we were talking about yesterday, and I know you're not very good on the NBA. I mean, you don't.
I'm just a casual. I'm a hack on YouTube. So and by the way, our sources are trust me, bro. So it is what it is.
Who's a cashier at Maverick?
Right, we get it.
But we even disagree on like Obi Toppin. We were sitting there watching the Knick game last night, and Obi Toppin just, essentially getting his cardio in.
Yeah.
And you believe that Obi Toppin has value to this team. I do not.
I believe that Obi Toppin is right now a mediocre, as you said, getting his cardio in, right? Like, it's true. That's what he's doing. But I also believe at the same time, Obi Toppin is a guy who's got a body that you can't teach, right? I think he's 6'10", really, he's a strong player. But at that size, he can really move. And what plagues NBA teams right now is guys who are 6'10" or 7 foot that really can't move. It's why Laurie is so good, right? Because Laurie's got athleticism
and why Udoka Azubuike is not.
Exactly, precisely. And so my point with Obi is very simple. Hey, yes, he's a project, 100%. He is a project. But if you're the team that can sign him on a really team-friendly contract, whatever that would look like for his value, if you can get a team-friendly deal done with Obi Toppin, to me, that could make sense because you've shown the ability now with David Fizdale and company to develop some of these guys. And I know a lot of it is want to. I know a lot of these guys, if they all had the same want to and the same work ethic, they would all be all-stars. And I'm with that. And if Obi doesn't want to work on his game, great. Pass on.
He's a role player. In my mind, Obi Toppin never scales to be one of your 5 best players. And listen, he's not old. He's 24 years old. He's 6'9", shoots the corner 3 well. Is he a better player than a Jared Vanderbilt? Probably. Does he scale to a better level than Jared Vanderbilt? Probably. But I just don't know what the win in that deal is. If you trade Obi Toppin, a lot of people have said that, the Knicks would like Beasley. Okay, so you get Malik Beasley. They send you Obi Toppin in return. Is that a win?
No, I wouldn't do that deal.
Okay, Jared Vanderbilt then. If you send them Jared Vanderbilt and you get Obi Toppin in return.
Yes, I would do that deal.
You would?
Yes, 100%. Wow. 100%. Because I know that Obi's a better shooter already right now today than Jared Vanderbilt is. I know that Obi Toppin. And the thing is, again, I don't want people to get confused on this. Because this is one of those that people are going to say a week from now, oh, you said Obi's a great player. No, I'm not saying he's a great player. But what I'm saying is that he's got a body that Jared Vanderbilt does not have. He has strength that Jared Vanderbilt does not have. And when you have those two things that you can't teach really, if this guy could just develop even 36%, 35% from 3, generally speaking, not just the corner, and then he could play serviceable defense, I would consider having him on my team for 15 to 20 minutes a night because then I can bring him in and spell, any number of guys. Like I could easily see bringing him in behind Walker Kessler and Obi Toppin being the guy that plays a bit of a physical game and picks up 2 or 3 fouls in his time each night.
I just need Obi Toppin to shoot 35% from 3.
Yeah.
And if he's going to play 20 minutes, get me 6-8 rebounds and play some defense. He is probably the typical 3-and-D guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not a huge fan of that. Vando, they're making similar money. Vando's making 4.6. Toppin's due for 6.8 next year.
Let me ask you this about and this is the other thing on Obi for me as well. It's not like the Knicks are some savant at developing guys.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
That's where I say, okay, is it Obi Toppin and he's just not good? Is it Obi Toppin and he just doesn't have a willingness to work on his game? Well, maybe, but maybe also is it that he's in my opinion, one of the worst franchises in the league or one of the worst ownership groups in the league?
Well, there's no doubt about that. But this is a different Knick team. Leon Rose has oh God, I'm going to say it. I can't believe I'm going to say it. Leon Rose has changed the culture in New York with the Knicks. They believe that they're going to win.
Facial recognition.
And hey, look. Idiot's still the owner of the team. I totally understand that, right? Like I totally get that. But I'm telling you, There's a couple of things that interest me about the Knicks and the Jazz as we talk NBA trade deadline here on the Monty Show. One of the things that really interests me is the relationship between Danny Ainge and Leon Rose, and how frustrated people are that Leon didn't make the Donnie trade, and Leon should have made the Donovan Mitchell trade, because I think when you look at a guy like Obi Toppin, he plays 12 to 15 minutes a night based on just looking at like this year he's averaging 15 minutes a night.
Perfect.
6.6 points a game, shooting 36% from three.
Okay, so off of the stats, right? Because I know I got a ton of stats guys in the comments. Stat guy. So if this guy's playing 15 minutes a night, if I could just get him to 10 points a night, how many rebounds does he have?
3.5.
10 points and 7 boards a night, and those 10 points come off of 3 threes and maybe a free throw?
And by the way, if he's on this team instead of the Knicks right now, he's playing 20 minutes a night. I don't think there's any time. As bad of a rebounding team as this Jazz team is, Obi Toppin to be playing 20 minutes a night. No doubt about it.
Yes.
But all I'm saying is I don't see tremendous up. You're not improving yourself. I don't know, even dramatically is the wrong word. But are you incrementally improving yourself if you swap Vanderbilt for Toppin? You are. I mean, you're a little better, right? But you're not markedly better.
Yeah.
Obi Toppin's not a way better player than Jared Vanderbilt is. I like him because he can hit the three, but Talon Horton-Tucker can shoot the three, and that dude can't get on the floor.
Yeah, that's true. That's also a factor. I mean, the Will Hardy factor is real, And,
it is.
And certainly I'm not saying that, again, I know we talked about Will Hardy a lot yesterday based on their performance, but I think that Will Hardy, definitely has a process and definitely has things that he wants to see out of players, and if he doesn't see him, he's not going to play you. And I think that's a dangerous game to play, especially when you need to develop guys.
All right, Football 50 coming up in 2 minutes. Cody Strickland, who's a member of the show. Cody Strickland.
What's up, bud?
Where you been, bro? How's the kid doing? Cody Strickland just had a baby. Well, he doesn't have a birth canal like Mrs. Cody Strickland. Anyway, Cody says, you don't think Ryan has a say in JC? I believe he gave Danny the keys, and Danny said, I will drive this car, but you can't tell me how to drive it. I am told by multiple Jazz sources that Ryan Smith has the final say, and Ryan Smith, but this goes back to Joe Ingles.
Yes.
This goes back to Rudy Gobert.
Yep.
Ryan Smith, if he doesn't want to trade Jordan Clarkson, Jordan's not getting traded. And I think what Ryan Smith, at least from what I'm told by sources inside the Jazz, they put an extremely high asking price on Jordan because they don't want to trade him. Ryan Smith does not want to trade him. That's Ryan's guy. And I get it. I totally understand it. Pudge NYC says, let's make the Obi for Vanderbilt deal. Well, you're a Knick fan. I mean, Pudge, what do you think of Obi? Timothy H. says Pac-12 expansion. Coming up here in 10 minutes, we'll talk Pac-12 expansion. Pudge also says Danny plan was to tank. Laurie went crazy and changed the entire plan. I think there's real truth in the fact that Laurie allowed them to accelerate the timeline.
100%.
I don't know that they were ever tanking.
Development, right? And again, we can't skip over it. I mean, it's no secret that Laurie's been a much better player with Utah than he had been in his prior opportunities, And to me, again, that's why I say, hear me clearly. I'm not saying that Obi is a great player. I'm just simply saying that I think there's developmental opportunity there to take a guy who's on a cheap-ass contract and turn him into something serviceable off the bench that you can lean on, because you should, again, theoretically, Jordan Clarkson shouldn't be on this team after the trade deadline. But with everything we've talked about today and what we've been telling you, there's a decent chance, based on what we're hearing, that he will be.
Yep. James Knight says Danny Ainge sucked the culture out of this franchise by trading a generational superstar. Wow. I think it was, I'm not going to say it was a mistake to trade Don, but it's certainly, you're not wrong. That changed this team. Blue says Jazz are going to get Westbrook. That trade, I would not be surprised if that trade happens. He'll never wear a Jazz uniform, though. Yeah. That'll never happen. To Negra Hermoso Road. Okay. Lakers, please trade everybody today. Davis, Dressbrick, Delvin Scam, everybody.
Who the f*** is that guy?
Are you already calling Darvin Ham Delvin Scam? Is that what that is a reference to?
It's not even been a full season and you're already rolling out with Dalvin Scam.
Is that already happening?
Sorry, I thought you said Russell Dressbrick. Come on, dude.
Wow.
Come on now. Come on.
That's impressive.